So, welcome back everybody to the Taj Coder, and in the last video we learned about what is a float, we learned about what is a variable, and we learned what is a function and how to call it, how to use the function, and what is the function, how to use the function and call it. Now this video, let me create another file, third.py, and this video we have only one goal, a big one: learning how to define a function. Now we can use functions, as I told you, we can use functions like this also and like this, but we can also create functions. Learning how to define, or normal language, create a function. So let's get started. The basics of creating a function is simple. First we'll write the way in comments. Now our first is def, def. First is def. You need to type like this. I'll show you. First step is we need to type def. Type exactly like this. And after this, now second we need to type I'm so sorry, type whatever function name we need, whatever function name we need. And third we have to type parentheses. And our fourth and last thing is define the parameters. Define the parameters. What are parameters? What is inside brackets or parentheses. So define the parameters. I'll teach you everything step by step. Please follow the tutorial and watch till the end. Now, as soon as we do this, let us create a function. And after that, wait. This is not a step, but I'll type it as a step so that you can get help. Defining what the function will do. What will the function do? We can't just make a function and then randomly stop. We need to define what the function has to do. And one more thing, we also put a colon. Now let me show that to you. How is it gonna work? So we'll go here. Now making a function. How will we make it? First, as the first step says, type def. Then we'll put a space. And after step, whatever function name we want. For example, we are creating a function to add 2 digits. Add any two numbers. So we'll create add function, and then here type parentheses. Now we'll type parentheses. Now define the parameters, or what is inside the brackets or parameters, and then put a colon. Now these are parentheses or these are brackets. So inside them, what do you want? You want number 1 and then number 2. So we need number 1 and number 2. So this add function, we have to create it such way that it will add number 1, then it will add number 1 to number 2, and as soon as it adds it, it will return or print the value. Now we'll put a colon. As it says here. Now define what the function will do. Just click enter. Indentation is automatic. It automatically indents in VS Code. So as soon as you click enter, then you get an indentation, and Now we have to start our main code. How will we start? What we want is to make a variable, answer. Answer will be the variable, and inside the variable will be number 1 or whatever the user number 1, this number 1. Let's copy this, paste this, and then plus sign. As I told you, mathematical operators are there in which we learn about in which we do the plus thing. So we have to do plus number underscore 2. We put number 1 plus number 2. So answer is equal to the answer of number 1 plus the answer of number 2. Now you know mathematical operators, so you are done with that. Now you have to go to another line, and then you have to type print answer. Now only, mind my words, only when you are inside a function, like when you are defining a function, only then rather than print, you can use something called return. We don't need parentheses for this, because inside a function, rather than using print, we will use what? We will use return, because it returns the value. With return, it returns the value. Now our function is created. We did all the coding here. So in the parentheses we have a number 1, and then we have number 2. And now what we'll do is we'll run the function. We'll put add, as the function name is add. Okay, wait, first we'll print the answer. So we'll write add for example 2 with 4. The answer is supposed to come 6. Let's run it. Nothing comes. Why nothing comes? I told you that with return we can return the value, but that only happens when we are inside Python. Like this is also Python, but there is one more Python. You download everything as I told you. So just type IDLE in your search bar and click on the first option you get. Wait for it to run. It's a big program. Wait for it to run. It's loading. See, so this is Python, the original first Python application, but we don't use this. Why? Because this is really not so helpful now. This is more helpful for beginners. So we'll use this, and it is easy to use. It's free. It's very simple, which is why we are using this. We can zoom in, zoom out, so however you want it. But while you want to do this, or you want to use the return function, you have to go to IDLE. Now I personally have developed and learned everything through this application. I never came to VS Code. Now I started VS Code as soon as I completed my Python fundamentals, and I am now a developer officially. So I first learned on this page, and here if we define a function, for example, we copy this, whatever this is, we copy it. When we go here and we paste this, then we click enter. We done this. Now the function is created. Now we copy this and we go here and we paste it. So add 2 or 4, the answer comes 6. Now we again do this, and in 4 we put 409, it comes 411. Why? Because in IDLE is the only place where return is used. Your return cannot be used if you are in VS Code or in any other IDE such as Atom, or you are in any other IDE, Python, PyScript, or any IDE. Return will not work. Why? Because this is not how it works over here. You need to, for using the return thing, you need to go to IDLE over here, this page. 1 second, this page. So for right now, we put return. Rather than that, as I told you before, we put print. And now we run this. So see, we get 6. Why do we get 6? Because we put print here. So we got 6. Let me increase this for you. Let me go up. Let me do this for you. Now if I click on run, we get 6. Run again, 6. Now we put 8 plus 4, the answer is 12. We get 12. Again we get 12. Now we put 8 and 8, the answer is 16. We get 16. 16. How many other times we do it? We get 16. So that's how you have to define a function. But that is the most normal method of defining a function. There is a proper, typical, authentic way. It is called the way, or the steps are called the function design recipe. Yes, it's very funny, but yes, it is called what? It is called, let me type it here for you, the function design recipe. And in that it clearly states, after doing these steps, before this step you have one more step in that. What? Putting applying a docstring. A docstring. What is a docstring? I'll explain. Now I told you what is a string. As this is a string. What is a string? I told you in double quotes, single quotes or triple quotes, anything is string. Now a docstring is what explains what the function can do. Yes, a docstring explains what the function can do. First, we'll use this in triple quotes, and I'll tell you now also that a docstring is created in triple quotes every time. Why? Because triple quotes are helpful for making multi-line strings. If I put double quotes and then I just type anything and then I click enter and I type anything, see, it's not inside the string anymore. It turned white. Why? Because these are double quotes. For putting them double in triple lines, you need to use triple quotes. And now see. Now if I click enter and like whatever, it's inside the string only. See, how much ever I type, it's inside the string. Which is why we use a docstring, and we make a docstring inside the triple quotes. Now first what we'll do is we'll define what the function is. How the function is made. So function underscore name, and then inside that we'll take a what? We are taking an integer. Now if we put a here like this, see what will happen. For now on, let's run this. See, it throw error. Why? Because we cannot multiply. Because this is a string. We have to use the int function, but now we are only taking integers. So inside parentheses in the docstring, we have to type integers and then integer. We are taking two values. Both of them are integers. Now just a second. Now what does the function do? It returns. We can write returns, or we can also write print. Print the sum of both the parameters given to the function. That's what the function does. Am I right? Yes, I am. That's what the function does. Now after this, you have to give some examples. Now in IDLE, while you are using this IDLE, this one, you have to write examples like this, because in IDLE, as I showed you, IDLE starts like this one. IDLE has these three lines. They start like this, these three lines. Which is why for inside docstrings, only inside docstrings, for explaining what this can do, we have to write these three arrows. Now why are these necessary? We are in VS Code, but for example, you need to publish this function. Then if you publish this, there's possible that a user is using this function not inside VS Code. He can be using this in IDLE. How do we know? So if he's using this in IDLE, we should understand. And all the VS Code people, all the people on this VS Code who will be using this, will understand that they are calling this function. Why? Because this is how it is shown on the Python original website that I told you in my first video. So now we'll give an example. If we say add, then we put this. I don't know why this happened. So if we put add, then inside we put 2, then comma 7. The answer is supposed to come what? Answer is supposed to come 9. The answer will be 9. Then if we put this again, and then we put add, and then inside that we put 7, and then we put 8. What the answer is supposed to come? 15. Yes? Am I right? Yes. We'll get 15. So we explained the examples inside a docstring. Now this is how a docstring is created. First, the function, just whatever, like the function name, or like we can write add also here. And then integer, we intake what? We only take integers and integers. Well, integers, not only integers. Why? Because for example, I put 8.9 and 8.76 here, and I run this. The answer is 17.66. How? Why is it not showing an error? Because integers and numbers can both see. Now if I put 8 here and I run this, still it is showing me the right answer. Why? This is because integers and floats can be used together. So we'll not type only integer here, or you can type slash floats, or I rather tell you can just type numbers, because integers and floats both come inside the category number. Now we save this. Now we run this again. We get the same answer, or whatever we do, we get the same answer. Now, thank you for watching this video, but there's a last thing. You guys have to do a small homework and put the code in the comments. Now the homework is, you need to create a function which multiplies the first value given in the function to the second value given in the function. Now just a second for you guys to be able to see this. I'm gonna copy this, backspace it, enter. Sorry. So see, you need to create a function which multiplies the first value given in the function to add to the second value given in the function, which can be, for example, you can name the function multiple, and then inside the brackets you can put 2, then we'll put 7. The answer is supposed to come 14. But now if we do anything, nothing happens, and error throws up because I have not created the function yet. This is your homework. You need to create the function which multiplies the first value and the second value. And I hope you will complete it till tomorrow, and my best wishes. Bye.